My retro-dried banana chips arrived damaged and wet from careless handling. 2.5 out of 5. Do not recommend. By Ms. T. High. In the kitchen, Candace furrows her brow as she looks over her delivery from Cosmo Crate, Earth's premier cosmic courier for freshness at warp speed. The jar-canned goods are all perfect, but the retro-dried products are a mess, squashed and wet. "How's the cyber chef supposed to work with this shit?" she mutters. She continues grousing while pulling up the carrier's app. Premier cosmic carrier indeed. She doesn't understand why everyone's always kissing the owner's ass. The world-renowned tycoon isn't all that great if he's messing up deliveries. And who the fuck thinks delivery is the creme de la creme of careers anyhow? During historic Earth, that was a lower-class job. But now everybody wants to do it? I don't get it. Candace tells the app to give the delivery an overall rating of 2.5 out of 5, and the carrier, Lishbay Turpit, Mr. Hoity-Toity, 2 stars. She also lowers his tip by 10 credits. As if he needs more anyhow. Satisfied, Candace continues stocking her pantry. 2 out of 5, Lishbay gurgles upon getting the update. His center eye flames red, and his trumpet-like ears vibrate like war horns announcing the end. His cerebral cortex throbs. He repositions himself in his hot oil tub and adjusts the spigot. He glares at his pet hover kitty, Philora. "Those as perfect a delivery as any!" He wraps a tentacle around his sweaty bald head and curses. "Flink craw! Before we invaded and civilized this paltry planet, their conveyance options were negligible." The alien points a tentacle at his floating pet who purr growls. "I'll show her who's a 2. I knew we should have killed them all, but no, said Grand Commander Theon. We had to keep them around for breedings, as if we need any more of the unintelligent." He splashes some oil at Philora, who growl purrs. An hour later, Lishbay studies his holographic work diary, zooming in on the ungrateful buyer's home address. "Such a stupid meat creature! Stornak Zarkin! Doesn't she know I have her Resdom's coordinates?" He scrutinizes her name in photoscan. Candace Sagudis? In-name's kind of creative for an Earthling. Interesting. No matter, she must pay. With Philora gently bobbing beside him, he hops in his Hub Flyer and races like a bat out of Reco for the buyer's home. The vehicle is set to stealth self-driving mode, but he's too agitated to pay attention to the lovely quilt-like patterns terra firma makes from above. A patch of lush green grass here, a block of tan dirt there, a multicolored square where ancient-style motorhomes rest. Lishbay remembers creating his courier empire shortly after settling on the Little Blue Marble. Humans were astounded that the big kahuna would make deliveries himself, but that was the Mercurian way. The ones at the top did the most work, trickling down to the underlings who did the least. That made more sense than the way the Terra creatures did it. His sudden success here marked the first time he'd experienced the adulation of the citizenry, a stark contrast to the anonymity he had on Mercury when everything he touched turned to Xeric shit. And never mind the cluster blicks he'd experienced when trying to work on Venus. The natives on that planet were incorrigible. And now this wench dares to mark his service now? He can't let that stand. He clenches all 4 tentacles, the appendages darkening. Upon arriving at Candace's home, Lishbay parks behind the building and leaps out of the vehicle, neatly landing on the second-floor balcony. He then uses a diamond pick to silently crack a window open. Inside, he sets his ear to bat mode, zoning in on the female's location. He nods yes at Philora. Locked in, Lishbay creeps to the first floor, surveils the area. The infernal creature is reclining on a leather lounger. Lishbay shudders. Terrible couches, so uncomfortable. The woman leaps up from the sofa warp speed quick. She narrows her eyes as she takes in the model charcoal-gray extraterrestrial. Lishbay stares back. What's that behind her eyes? You! Candace cries out. Sweat pops on her forehead like bubble wrap. What the fuck are you doing in my res dome? You don't have any right to... And you have no right to mark down my delivery service. Lishbay's temple throbs. Behind him, Flora growl purrs. Lishbay snaps a tentacle and a ray gun appears. He shoots. Candace jumps out the way. She dashes to the kitchen. Lishbay yells to Flora, "Mind now!" Instantly, the two aliens mentally connect, a minor hive mind activated. In tandem, Lishbay and Flora corner Candace. Lishbay wraps a tentacle around her neck and one of Flora's whiskers smacks the woman's face over and over again, leaving red welts on her cheeks. Candace gropes behind herself, grabs an ancient knife, and swings it. It slices one of Lishbay's appendages, splattering indigo blood. Lishbay yelps, slightly loosening the tentacle around her neck. Flora's whiskers keep smacking the woman. Candace turns her head, locking eyes with Lishbay. He gives a guttural laugh. "Now I've got you," he says. He continues staring into Candace's eyes. He activates a cerebral probe. Probing. Wait! He cries as Candace takes over, probing his mind. You're... Yes, a Venusian, she transmits. Peacefully relocated over a century ago. Found a nice meat suit and have been living here quietly since. And I intend to keep it that way. Candace ceases probing, knowing all she needs to know about the Mercurian before her. She transmits a sudden surge of power overwhelming Lishbay's synapses, with exaggerated images of his many life failures manifested as dark Venusian monsters. He collapses. Candace looks at Lishbay's prone body. Make that 1 out of 5. She smirks, then lifts him and throws him out of a nearby window, his hovercraft barely catching him. Flora whines. Candace projects a squeaky catnip hover mouse until the hover kitty quiets. She scratches Flora's chin. Pretty girl. The hover kitty purrs, drops to the floor, and winds around the Venusian's legs. You get 5 out of 5. Candace transmits and, smiling, goes back to her lounger, hover kitty in tow. The end.